everybody, tonight is a big night. We have the tables are turning big time. This is huge, guys. The Supreme Court has voted in favor of requiring proof of citizenship to register to vote. As crazy as that sounds, they're requiring it finally. This is going to change the entire election big time for Trump. Their entire campaign has been fighting for this because they want to make sure that we have free and fair elections. And guys, breaking news also today. If you are an American citizen, you are not allowed to get assistance in buying a home with taxpayer dollars. That's only reserved for non-citizens. Yep. In Oregon, they have it where non-citizens can get $30,000 to buy a home. And in California, it was passed today that illegal immigrants can get a 0 down payment, 0% interest loan to get a house. Yep, not for American citizens, but for illegal immigrants. And guys, I found this guy who literally owns Van Jones and the host on CNN. They get owned by this guy named Scott Jennings on their own show. It's hilarious. I love it. I've got John Kennedy, some videos from John Kennedy talking to Jerome Powell, the chairman of the Federal Reserve. So we got amazing news for you today, guys. But just want to say thank you to everybody that's watching. If you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. And also, too, if you don't mind, click the thumbs up button. And we just want to say thank you to everybody that is a blessing to this channel, that gives us a super chat donation. It means the world to us. And we just want to say thank you, guys. But let's get right into this huge breaking news, guys. SCOTUS upholds the Arizona's voter citizenship law. So it's crazy to think that wanting to have a voter ID in order and requiring it to vote in the elections, it has to go through the Supreme Court, but it does. But thankfully, they upheld it, and now our laws, our voting is going to be entirely different. This is huge, guys. I love it. Not only that, Trump has come out and said, you know what, guys? Kamala Harris doesn't want to talk about her policies. Well, let me go ahead and do it for her. Check this out.
Nobody trolls better than Donald Trump. Over 4 weeks after toppling Joe Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris doesn't have a single policy page on her campaign website. So Trump created one for her. His campaign setting up a Harris-Walz policy website listing all of her radical policies, like eliminating private insurance and bailing out violent murderers in a one-stop shop. Harris wants to run away from these positions, but she refuses to face reporters. CNN thinks she might hide until Election Day. Take a look at this.
If you didn't see that at the bottom, it said she wants to give Social Security and Medicare to illegal immigrants, guys. Taxpayer stuff to illegals. How messed up is that?
Charlamagne, you've interviewed Kamala Harris.
Yep, a few times.
All right. And everybody's come on your radio show. Everybody has to come on your radio show. She hasn't done a big interview in a while here, and certainly not since announcing. Are you going to talk to her soon? What do you think? What do you think she should do? Or does she do better to ignore all those calls to talk and just keep doing what she's doing?
All right, Jesse, who would guess that in 2024, Donald Trump would be helping us learn more about Kamala Harris than her own campaign people?
Yeah. So this is good. This is creative, because you can't just complain about it. Everybody comes on the show and they complain about, oh, the media's hiding her, she's hiding. That's not going to get it done. He has to think of creative ways in order to pierce this armor and expose her, because the country hates the media. And the country already knows she's unprepared for the job. So if he can just expose her, and maybe one way to do that is by sending just an army of surrogates out to CNN and MSNBC and the networks. And every time they ask them a question, just say, why are you hiding her? Why is she unqualified? What's her policy? Why don't you care what her policy is?
Exactly.
You know, if they do that, or if they do town halls where Trump can out there and say, I'm for this, I'm relating to you, where's Kamala? Those kind of things create a counter narrative that can just really ratchet the race in all different directions. That's what they need to do.
All right, Greg, when you think about it, the guy that they claim is destroying democracy is actually helping protect it by telling voters what Kamala Harris actually stands for.
Well, somebody has to. I would disagree with Jesse on this. I think that Trump should not engage the media at all. Go right to the Democratic voters who don't like him. Sit at a table with 4 voters. Do it a couple times a week and just field their concerns, because Trump rallies and these choreographed media things, they don't convert. They don't convert. People who are unsure need to see the personal touch. When people see that Trump is not Hitler, they're going to be really angry at the media who told them he was. They're going to go, this guy he's actually a human being.
Yep.
I think the strategy of ignoring the media is hilarious because it's endorsed by the media. They're like a guy who says, I don't blame if you don't date me.
Right.
I'm bad news. This might be the most honest thing the media has ever said. If you don't include us, you'll be fine, because we make everything worse. Every time you put the media in every aspect of life, they destroy the melting pot. They've undermined biology. They've undermined education, all through their leftist ideology. You know, I wouldn't want them around either. Basically, they're saying to Kamala, it's not you, it's me. And you know, Seinfeld was a show about nothing. This is a candidacy about nothing.
Ooh.
It's like they heard nothing beats Trump, and they said, well, let's run nothing. This party, we're a donut. Harris is the whole. A layer of protective flour and sugar surrounding a pocket of emptiness. It's no wonder The View loves her.
All right, Harold. Kamala said she's going to do one interview. I think it's on August 31st. Is that smart, Harold?
Look, 2 things. I think it's smart and clever what President Trump is doing with this website. I think some of the criticism towards her not sharing already all the things she's going and wants to do as president, a lot of it's fair, some of it's not fair. I'd say the part that's not fair is because President Trump on his own website doesn't really go into excruciating and elaborate detail about some of the things that he wants to do to fix some of these challenges. So I think as you get clever and you're smart, and I think it was a good tactic, I think you have to share your own thoughts. I've said all along, Vice President Harris will not be able to not do serious interviews, not be able to do press conferences, and frankly, just not engage with the press.
Guys, I don't know about that. She's been the elected nominee, presumptive elected nominee, for over 30 days, and she's still yet to do an interview. They're hiding her. They don't want her out there, and there's plenty of people that are even on CNN that says she doesn't need to speak. Just let Trump keep talking. She will be behind the scenes, and that's how she's going to win. Can you believe that's how a presidential candidate for the greatest country in the entire world is running their campaign? It's disgraceful.
The American people have great insecurities and aspirations about the economy, depending on where you sit on the economic ladder. Those concerns and aspirations and, frankly, insecurities could be more pronounced if you're at the lower end versus the higher end. But Democrats have a history of speaking to voters at the middle and lower end, and she's going to have to be successful there because President Trump, I think the real genius and beauty of his campaigns over the last 8 years have been that ability as a Republican to connect with union households and blue-collar households across the country. So she won't be able to get away with this, Judge, between now and November. If she does try to do it, I don't think she wins. So I don't think she'll do it. I think come September 10th, if she, I agree with Jesse, I thought June 27th was a huge day. September 10th is an even bigger day. And tonight is the start of that test for her. She's got to give a great speech tonight to get this thing rolling.
You know, and this is the thing, guys. Let me know your thoughts. I could care less about the speeches that they give because they're not even writing it. It's being written by somebody who went to Yale or Harvard or something like that. All she's doing is being a mouthpiece. You never heard from Biden, and you're not going to hear from her what she actually thinks unless you get them into an interview, into a debate stage where they have to impromptu give something from their own heart, like how Trump does. These speeches don't mean nothing.
Yeah, and, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if she does. I mean, it's not that hard to read it. But, Dana, I want to talk to you about Gina Raimondo, the Secretary of Commerce. Let's take a listen to this sound, and we'll come back.
Guys, you're not going to...
When you hear that, do you potentially think that this new numbers could be a liability for this campaign?
No, when I hear that, first of all, I don't believe it because I've never heard Donald Trump say anything truthful.
It is, though, from the Bureau of Labor.
I'm not familiar with that.
Okay, and of course, Dana, that is about the 818,000 jobs that the Bureau of Labor Statistics said were falsely claimed to have been created by the Biden-Harris administration.
Yeah, so there was a revision. The Bureau of Labor Statistics does it every year. Sometimes it works in an administration's favor, sometimes it doesn't. And in this case, for Biden-Harris, it doesn't. But the media or even your own cabinet can sweep it under the rug. On the Raimondo point, you know, whoever the press secretary is should get either a real talking to or be shown the door, because that was gigantic news yesterday. And for the secretary to go on an interview and not be prepared for it was one thing. But here's the other thing: if you're a Republican communications director, you for sure prep your boss to go into any interview because you know the questions are going to be tough or
100%.
obvious. And in that case, that one didn't work. The other thing is that the whole convention, I really noticed it yesterday in Tim Walz's speech, and you'll probably hear more about it today from Kamala Harris, is that they're applying policies to Donald Trump that he does not support. So, for example, they continuously say that Donald Trump is for a federal abortion ban. They say he is going to ban more books. They say that he is not going to allow you to worship the way that you want to. And it's really a dirty way to do politics because, one, nobody in the media ever gets to ask them, like, well, what do you mean? I would say that the moderators for that September 10th debate really have their work cut out for them because, one, President Trump has to say, that is not my policy, et cetera. But then you could also look back to you and say, well, your policies are A, B, C, D, E, F, G, F. You know, you could go all down the alphabet because she's been in power for a long time, but walking away from all of the big ones. They touched the hot stove of policy last Friday on the economy. They got slapped back by the left-wing media, including even centrist media, the Washington Post editorial board, CNN, saying this idea of price controls is a gimmick and it will never work. So I don't know if they're too shy now to put out anything else and they're just going to try to run the vibes for another 48 hours.
Guys, I'm telling you this. I think everybody's getting fed up with how Kamala Harris and their entire campaign has been just dodging everybody. I've got this from, check it out. This is from MSNBC. How they literally try to blame greedy corporations on all the price gouging. And listen to what I have to say, because this is just one example I have. But people are fed up with all the lies, and I believe that they're starting to see through it. Check this out.
First, I believe in competition and making sure that there's actual competition. We saw very tough years after the pandemic with supply chain issues. But she didn't talk about. She was very clear about that. There's a huge difference between talking about competition and making sure that we address anti-competitive behavior and price controls, which obviously
the price margins are only 1-2%.
And Josh, you know that's not what caused the inflation. So, and for you to say it with a straight face, just it doesn't help your cause at all. You know.
No, but Joe, talking about.
Did you just hear that? This guy on CNBC said, "Look, grocery stores' margins are like 1 to 2%," and he's like, "You are trying to say with a straight face this is what's causing inflation? Are you kidding me, guys?" I love what you're about to see next.
As a capitalist, I believe in competition and making sure that there's actual competition. You got states
why didn't the corporation?
You act like you ain't got Target, Kroger, Walmart, all these, Costco, Sam's Club. Come on.
Why didn't the corporations gouge for 40 years, if that's what caused it? How did it suddenly happen? They learned how to gouge 3.5 years ago, and it went to 40-year highs on inflation. And when you talk about unifying, being where you are, you may be unifying intra-DNC, but I can guarantee you that what we're seeing in policies coming out are not unifying policies. And you must know that in terms of the populist.
But Joe,
they're not unifying to me. They're very divisive.
Ooh. Guys, this is CNBC calling out this Democrat on live TV. Can you believe this? Like, I feel like the fat lady is singing. I don't know if that's still politically correct to say. I feel like pigs are flying. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.
I think we'd all agree that the other side has been clear about burning down the house and taking a much more extreme perspective. That's all I'm saying.
We can't all agree. I don't think we're going to have to agree to disagree, because I don't agree. But I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm just making the point that I think standing up to anti-competitive behavior
starts with we
is
can
not
all
a bad
agree.
thing.
Every statement begins with "we can all agree."
Okay.
No, we can't. No, we can't. It sounds like,
I'll say.
Guys, don't you just love that? He literally just said, you keep saying we all agree. We don't agree. So guys, check this out. This is big. This is huge right here. Ooh, I got such a good video for y'all in just a moment, guys. This is so good. I love tonight's show. It's so much fun, guys, to see the changes that are coming. So this guy, Scott Jennings, he is going off on CNN host on their own show, and they can't say nothing. Check it out. Oh, don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. Let me refresh, guys.
How do you see it? Well, this guy is... nobody tonight said anything. Nobody tonight said a damn thing. They want you to vote for a ticket based on absolutely no concrete idea about what they would do once they get in office. You said he got more progressive when he got elected governor. So you're saying every time he gets another office, he gets more and more progressive. I think that's exactly what would happen. Tonight, you did hear people say, well, we may not agree with them on everything, but at least it'll be joyful as they tax us into oblivion. I think the idea that you could run an entire presidential campaign
right here
based on the idea of vote for me to find out what's in it.
Wait a minute,
ought to terrify every American.
Guys, can you believe what you are hearing and seeing? This is on CNN. These are calling these people out. Check this out, guys, because this is even better. Check this out.
I think that you have to trust the pilot of the plane in the first place. And the problem right now is that Donald Trump is not a trustworthy pilot. And what these guys are winning, they're winning the babysitter contest. Who do you want? Whose values do you want to be in charge of the plane before we get where we're going? And I think you're getting smoked on that. And I think that's... How do you see it?
My brother.
Yes.
My brother, I have to tell you.
Please.
The current pilot of the plane is Kamala Harris. Donald Trump is not the pilot of the plane.
No.
He's going to say, we can't trust Donald Trump. He's not a good pilot. The current pilot is sucking right now and taking us into a nosedive into oblivion.
She's the vice president. She's a co-pilot. She's a co-pilot.
People have...
Guys, you can't make this stuff up, guys. People are getting fed up. People are done with all the lies. They're always trying to gaslight people, and they're fed up. And guys, even check this out, because Jerome Powell, who controls the interest rates and all this stuff, listen to what he has to say about Bidenomics. Remember, this is probably one of the most powerful men in the entire world, because he controls the interest rates by which we purchase, which then controls the economy. Check this out.
Most Americans don't feel good about the economy, do they?
No, and we don't tell people how to feel about the economy.
I mean, isn't it a fact that most people, if you ask them to define Bidenomics, they would say that's easy. We get to pay more to live worse.
I wouldn't touch
you don't want to answer that
a sentence with that word in it.
Yeah.
Can you believe this? The Federal Reserve chairman said, I don't even want to touch the word Bidenomics, because it's that bad.
Yeah. I mean, we can pretty this up all I guess my point is, and I know you're going to do this anyway, but I'd be really careful with this economy. I mean, people just don't feel better off today.
No, not at all.
And one can marshal a persuasive argument that, well, you should, compared to Europe or compared to China, compared to Canada. But feelings are feelings. People don't feel good about this economy. And it's primarily because of inflation.
Yeah, inflation is kicking everybody's butt, guys. I'm tired of spending if I want a burger, fry, and drink, I'm tired of spending $12 for a burger, fries, and drink. It's just ridiculous. But let me tell you this, guys, because right now, everybody's talking about what Oprah just said. Everybody's talking about how she endorsed Kamala Harris, but I want to show you what the truth is from back in the day. This is the thing. She wrote a letter This is the letter that she wrote to Donald Trump. She penned this and said that if her, Oprah, and Donald Trump were running for office, right here at the bottom, what a team. Can you believe that? This is the same woman that last night, they're all trying to blame Trump for everything that's wrong when Biden and Harris have been in office. So for the past 16 years, Trump has only had 4 of that, but yet it's Trump's fault for everything that's wrong, even though they've had the presidency for the past 3.5 years. Watch this, guys. This is mind-blowing what you're about to see of Trump from back in the day. This is 1988. Listen to how he sounds, what he says, because he was right about everything. Just like he was right about the border wall, just like he was right about foreign wars, just like he was right about inflation. I mean, this guy has a sixth sense. Check it out. Oh my goodness. They're always trying to get me, guys. I got to refresh.
Criticizing U.S. foreign policy. What would you do differently, Donald?
I'd make our allies, forgetting about the enemies you can't talk to so easily, I'd make our allies pay their fair share. We're a debtor nation. Something's going to happen over the next number of years with this country, because you can't keep going on losing $200 billion, and yet we let Japan come in and dump everything right into our markets and everything. It's not free trade. If you ever go to Japan right now and try to sell something, forget about it, Oprah. Just forget about it. It's almost impossible. They don't have laws against it. They just make it impossible. They come over here, they sell their cars, their VCRs, they knock the hell out of our companies. And, hey, I have tremendous respect for the Japanese people. I mean, you can respect somebody that's beating the hell out of you, but they are beating the hell out of this country. Kuwait, they live like kings. The poorest person in Kuwait, they live like kings. And yet they're not paying. We make it possible for them to sell their oil. Why aren't they paying us 25% of what they're making? It's
exactly.
a joke.
This sounds like political presidential talk to me, and I know people have talked to you about whether or not you want to run. Would you ever?
Probably not, but I do get tired of seeing the country ripped off.
Why would you not?
I just don't think I really have the inclination to do it. I love what I'm doing. I really like it.
Also, it doesn't pay as well.
No, it doesn't. But, you know, I just probably wouldn't do it, Oprah. I probably wouldn't, but I do get tired of seeing what's happening with this country. And if it got so bad, I would never want to rule it out totally, because I really am tired of seeing what's happening with this.
Did you hear that? I'm tired of seeing what's going on. This is 1988, guys. I'm tired of seeing what's going on, but I would never rule it out because it's getting so bad. I would do something about it. He did. He became president. He kicked butt, and now he needs to win again.
Country, how we're really making other people live like kings, and we're not.
What do you think of this year's presidential race, the way it's shaping up?
Well, it's going to be very interesting. I think that probably George Bush has an advantage in terms of the election. I think that probably people would say that he's got like that little edge in terms of the incumbency, et cetera, et cetera. But I think Jesse Jackson's done himself very proud. I think Michael Dukakis has done one hell of a job. And George Bush has done a hell of a job. You know, they all went in there sort of as semi-underdogs, including George Bush, and they've all come out. I think people that are around all 3 of those candidates can be very proud of the jobs they've done.
You've said, though, that if you did run for president, you believe you'd win.
Well, I don't know. I think I'd win. I tell you what, I wouldn't go in to lose. I've never gone in to lose in my life. And if I did decide to do it, I think I'd be inclined. I would say that I would have a hell of a chance of winning, because I think people, I don't know how your audience feels, but I think people are tired of seeing the United States ripped off. And I can't promise you everything, but I can tell you one thing. This country would make one hell of a lot of money from those people that for 25 years have taken advantage. It wouldn't be the way it's been, believe me.
Guys, how beautiful is that to hear? Even the same values that Trump has on making sure America's put first. Back then in 1988, that's when that interview was, to even just now, guys. It's beautiful, guys, because right now, with what you're about to see, Kamala Harris just came out with a new ad, and she's touting all this border stuff, border security. It's a joke. Listen to what the governor of Texas has to say over what's going on. Oh, sorry, guys.
Let's bring in Greg Abbott, the Republican governor of the great state of Texas. So according to a Fox News poll, Governor, a record number of people believe that the situation on the southern border is either an emergency or a major problem. The total of that is 87%. The closest it was back in October of 2023, when 85% of people felt that. Where are we now in terms of the border, and how does that play into the election?
Listen, it plays into the election because as governors and residents and citizens across America have seen, every state is now a border state. It's not something that just happens in Texas or Arizona. It happens in Georgia and Pennsylvania and Wisconsin with regard to the importation of fentanyl, with regard to people losing their lives because of criminals and rapists that have been allowed in by Kamala Harris in her responsibility as being the person in charge of the border. You know, it was amazing just moments ago on your clip. She said that we know how to fix the border. They've had the ability to fix the border for more than 3.5 years now. And because they have not only failed to do that, but because they have adopted the catch and release policies that President Trump had gotten rid of, they have now allowed in more than 11 million illegal immigrants, many of whom they don't know where they are right now, many of whom are known rapists, murderers,
and if you don't know, guys, there's 1.9 million gotaways. No idea where these people are at, where they're at in our country.
Even terrorists. And so Americans are threatened now more than ever because of the reckless open border policies that were allowed by Kamala Harris.
To the point that you just made, here is a new ad from the Harris campaign touting how Kamala would be the solution to our woes on the border. Listen here.
You gotta be kidding me.
As president, she will hire thousands more border agents and crack down on fentanyl and human trafficking. Fixing the border is tough. So is Kamala Harris.
As you point out, she was appointed border czar back in March of 2021. What has she been doing for the past 3.5 years? Why is she only turning her eye toward fixing it now? And in terms of how broken it has become, look at these statistics for the Tucson sector, which includes Cochise County there. Under Biden, February 2021 to July 2024, 1,211,886 illegal entries. Compare that to Trump during his entire presidency, 246,452.
Wow.
Under Biden, that's an almost 400% increase in illegal crossings, Governor.
So, for one, listen, this is so easy for voters to be able to see what's going on because the facts are the facts. And the facts are that when President Trump left office, we had the lowest illegal border crossings in about 45 years. And then after Biden and Harris took over, we've had, without a doubt, the largest illegal border crossings ever. But remember this also, and that is when Kamala first ran for president, she articulated several policies that she believed in, such as saying that immigrants should not be treated as criminals. They wanted to give free health care to illegal immigrants. They want to abolish ICE. They were against the wall. Here's my point. Everything that she said that was her position when she first ran for president are the actual policies that she's implemented as the vice president in charge of securing the border. So she has a record as well as articulated vision for what she wants to achieve, and it just has devastated the United States of America. All Americans must know this one simple thing. If Kamala Harris becomes president, as bad as things have been under Joe Biden, they're going to be even worse under Kamala Harris as it concerns our broken border.
Now, the sheriff there in Cochise County, Mark Daniels, we've had him on many, many times.
Guys, let me know your, and hey, guys and gals, I had somebody who called me out and said, hey, there's women that watch your show too, so you're right, guys and gals. Do you think, because this is what I believe, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. If you believe that it's okay to have open borders and just let anybody in, you should not be able to hold office in the United States. It should be required that you should support the protection of our country as well as the protection of our American citizens by having a border wall to make sure that whoever is in the United States is because we want them to be here, not because they just came over and we're trying to get their votes for political reasons. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section.
Alicia Acuna refer to him. He has been highly critical of the Biden-Harris administration, but not everyone is. Listen to Javier Salazar, who is the Bexar County Sheriff, and what he said at the DNC last night.
When Donald Trump comes down to Texas, stands next to officers in uniforms just like mine, he's not there to help us. Don't think that, not for a second. He is a self-serving man. Now, Kamala, on the other hand, has been fighting border crime for years. She's gone down to Mexico.
Hey, anybody want to take any bets on how much this guy was paid to say this? Because he sounds so fake. And with the facts that we know, 100% fake.
And worked to stop the traffickers. And when the traffickers didn't stop, she put them in jail.
What do you make of that, Governor?
Well, it's wrong for two ways. One is by the policies that Kamala has implemented, she's actually facilitated border crime by ending catch and release, by allowing illegal immigrants to come in who are very dangerous and go across the entire country and commit mayhem. Second thing I'll tell you, and that is that sheriff that was just talking right there is not actually a border sheriff. What I know for a fact is that President Trump has been on the border with me as well as with sheriffs on the border. And the border sheriffs rally behind President Trump because they know he is the only president who's ever really stepped up and actually secured the border and provided those local border sheriffs the resources and tools and support they need to better secure the border.
All right, Governor.
Guys, that is savage, guys. How Governor Abbott said, look, I know who he is. I know who that's not the sheriff. Like, I love it. It's what the truth that comes out. Because so many people are tired of this, guys. What I'm about to show you, y'all are going to be irritated like crazy. Because this is what's trending right now on X. This pamphlet is being sent out. And this is what's being handed out, guys. I'm like, you can't make this stuff up of what you're about to see. Check this out, guys. Sorry, I'm switching over to the screen. Look at this. Look at this right here. This is what's in Oregon right now. Grant for first-time home buyers in the state of Oregon. $30,000. Conditions. Only for people who are not American citizens. For example, ITIN holders, DACA recipients, refugees, asylees, green card holders, amongst others, must have pre-approval for mortgage loan. So, I don't know about y'all, but they want to give $30,000 of taxpayer money to non-citizens. And it literally says, you can't be a citizen to get this, guys. What a joke. Like, it is literally just, it doesn't even seem like we're in reality right now that we are seeing them use taxpayer dollars to give away to people that are non-citizens so that they can buy a home, when we know that there's plenty of people that are hurting, that do need a home, that could use some assistance, guys. Like, let me know your thoughts in the comments. This is crazy. But we've got some more just insane news, guys, that's going on, but we've got the facts for you. Check it out.
And let me bring in on that note Florida Congressman and Trump surrogate who held a press conference on behalf of the campaign today, Michael Walz. Congressman, great to see you. A lot of hope. You hear that word a lot, but they can't run on hope and change because Kamala Harris has been part of this White House and part of the pain and misery inflicted on the American people for the last 3.5 years.
Yep.
So they have to try and act like she hadn't been around in Washington.
Yeah, that's right. And the original sin, which she absolutely owns, was the despicable, disgraceful withdrawal from Afghanistan, which was happening this week, right now as we speak, 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
And she's, puffed up her chest and was really proud of that decision, said she was the last one in the room. And look at the disaster that followed. Over 800 Americans left behind, 150,000 of our allies that are being hunted down by the Taliban right now as we speak. Resurgent terrorism. Terrorism is back, ISIS and Al-Qaeda. And the signal it sent to Putin, Xi, and the Ayatollahs in Iran, who are all on the march right now. She owns all of those. We're going to make sure she does. You can't be the last in the room and a seat at the table and then try to distance yourself, no matter how hard they're trying. This is year 4 of Kamala Harris, not day 1.
Exactly.
No matter how hard they're trying here at the pep rally at the DNC.
Right, and there's something you won't hear. You'll hear plenty of music, but you will not hear the names of those 13 service members who were killed at Abbey Gate because of the recklessness and incompetence
and gals
of the Harris and Biden administration. And speaking of that, I want to move on to this. It's the election of tax cuts or tax hikes. And you know which side Kamala Harris is on, endorsing $5 trillion worth of tax increases.
Wow.
So, again, she doesn't say this out loud, but the campaign comes out and says, oh, okay, we're just going to stand behind what Joe Biden proposed earlier this year. But this includes a capital gains and dividends tax rate of 44.6%. That is on top of a new corporate tax rate higher than communist China. That is a quadrupled tax on stock buybacks that hurts every American with a 401k, an IRA, or a pension. Plus, they want to tax at 25% unrealized capital gains. That is a wealth tax, and that's just half of it. But that taxing unrealized capital gains, they say they'll only start with the rich, balderdash. It will move down to everyday people.
Everybody.
But that alone destroys innovation in this country, Congressman. It will starve companies from getting funding from venture capitalists. And that's the insanity of what we're hearing.
Well, not only
here.
that, I mean, this is Soviet-style, top-down, bureaucratic overreach. If you've ever seen it, can you imagine some bureaucrat coming into your life and valuing if maybe you have some art, maybe you have some land or an antique car or what have you, and they put a value on it and then hand you the bill. It doesn't matter if things go down later or lose value. They're never going to give you that money back. But the cap gains, the doubling of cap gains, first of all, I don't think half the Democrats, maybe not even all of them, could even explain cap gains, number one. But number two, it's not just the investors who take all kinds of risks. 90% of startups fail. They deserve to not have the government take half of the gains when they actually win. But it's, as you said, it's entrepreneurship, it's innovation, it's small business owners who have a great idea and need to raise capital, or maybe they're successful and deserve to have some kind of exit, or maybe they want to sell a multi-generational family business, and you're going to have the federal government take half of it after all of that blood, sweat, and tears, after all of that risk that they took, or that great idea that they came up with and actually made work. It will chase innovation, entrepreneurship, and capital overseas faster than anything you've ever seen. But it's very real because all the Tax Cut and Jobs Act are up for renegotiation next year. And this is round one of the Democrats' negotiation. This is priority one. And it will destroy small businesses and entrepreneurship in this country. Kill it.
Congressman,
destroy it. Done.
I want to move on to this. You serve on the committee or the task force that is looking at the attempted assassination of President Trump. And I want to get your reaction to new video showing the shooter surveying the rally site nearly 2 hours before the attack. I would read the Secret Service statement on this, but it is so useless. Your reaction to this?
You know, every week that goes by, we have some new revelation that's not coming from the Secret Service, that's not coming from the FBI. And serving on the task force, every time we overturn a rock, I have even more questions of how this happened. We had a FBI briefing today. We still don't have answers on these overseas encrypted accounts and why a 19-year-old healthcare aide, you know, kind of loser nerd in his high school, needed overseas encrypted accounts in 3 different countries. I don't know how they came to such a quick determination that he acted alone, but they're still standing by that statement. So this is why we need an independent congressional oversight task force, because the trust and confidence in Mayorkas's DHS and in the FBI to get to the bottom of what happened is somewhere a little bit above zero amongst the American people.
Guys, I'm telling you what, like, the more and more that things get uncovered, I 100% believe things are being covered up. Let me know your thoughts, because they don't want anybody looking into that besides themselves. Why? Why don't you want congressional people to build a committee to go look at all the evidence and decide what actually happened? But I'm telling you this, guys, the more and more that things get uncovered, the more and more truth comes out, people are getting tired of being gaslighted, and it's 100%. I think we are slowly but surely heading in the right direction with what I've shown today. But what's also irritating to me is how people are literally thinking that the last 3 years did not happen with Kamala Harris. They literally think that people are stupid enough to not realize that whenever they're standing on stage and blaming Trump for everything that's wrong, when they've been in office for the past almost 4 years, check this out.
All right, the Democrats have building up to this moment for the last month. It's the national debut of the new Kamala Harris. Now, with the help of a lot of high-paid consultants, she's been repackaged into someone that they hope seems more likable, more experienced, and more intelligent than the old Kamala Harris. Remember, it was just months ago that she was widely recognized as an annoying problem for Biden, not a capable substitute for him. So to overcome her talent deficit, did she and her advisors unveil policies to address the economic problems facing American families? Or is she maybe reconsidering her administration's budget-busting climate change policies? That would be a no. But they want you to know that she's really happy.
We need Kamala Harris, the president of joy.
Let us choose joy.
Thoughtful, loving, compassionate.
Thank you for bringing the joy to this fight.
Now, this could be the lamest attempt at a political rebranding I've ever seen in my entire career, because it requires America to live in an alternate reality where they deny their own lived experience, their own finances, and what they see with their own eyes. Illegals pouring into the country, into their children's schools, into gangs terrorizing urban America not too far from here. And we also have to pretend that the past 3.5 years did not exist as well. Right now, 65% of Americans think the country's on the wrong track.
Guys, look at this. This is from Real Clear Politics. This is August 22nd. This literally just happened. This polling, 65% say we're heading in the wrong direction. What I don't understand is why aren't 65% of people voting for Donald Trump instead of what we've gone through and know that we need to change?
Where in the heck is the joy in that? Now, since the one policy she's articulated since Biden dropped out, price controls, was roundly panned, no one should expect a lot of substance in her address tonight. Talking solutions is, after all, too dangerous, because when she does, we remember the real Kamala Harris, a radical, unimpressive San Francisco extremist. But imagine the cabinet should pick, or someone would pick for her. It'd be kind of a lot like the old cabinet, big on the DEI factor, small on the brain factor.
Do you potentially think that this new numbers could be a liability for this campaign?
No, when I hear that, first of all, I don't believe it because I've never heard Donald Trump say anything truthful.
It is, though, from the Bureau of Labor.
I'm not familiar with that.
I mean, in any other profession, she would be fired for that comment.
100%.
But there's only two explanations for that. She's either pretending she doesn't know what the Bureau of Labor statistics is in the other department, Department of Labor, or she's completely incompetent. Despite whatever platitudes you hear tonight in Kamala's rebranding rollout, she still, though, cannot erase who she is and what she believes.
Exactly.
Because on every major issue, she believes the opposite of what will make Americans' lives better. Think she's going to secure the border?
When you become president, will you be committing to close the immigration detention centers?
Absolutely, on day one. On day one. The business model is that people are profiting off of the incarceration of other human beings, who in this case are children. On day one.
And if you just heard her, sound compassionate about children, well, under their administration, DHS has lost 291,000 children that have come over the border, and the DHS has no idea where they're at.
Shut them down.
And I wouldn't expect to see any new medical innovations under a Harris administration.
For any drug where they fail to play by our rules, and if that drug came about because of federal funding for what's called R&D, research and development, I will snatch their patent. So so that we will take over. And yes, we can do that. Yes. The question is, do you have the will to do it? I have the will to do it.
You go, girl. But at least one group will be better off under Kamala.
The California Department of Corrections, which was a client of mine, they were standing in the way of surgery.
For prisoners.
For prisoners. I made sure that they changed the policy in the state of California so that every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access to the medical care that they desired and need. At its core, it's a civil.
You know what, guys, real quick, I don't think that's medical care. I think it's elective surgery. Just like I don't see the federal government going and paying for people that want to get a nose job or maybe get, you know, a tummy tuck or something. It's elective. They don't have to do it. They want to do it, but she's using taxpayer dollars to fund their agenda. It's so disgusting.
Rights issue, it's a justice issue, and it's an issue of humanity.
It's humanity. God, shed a tear for the transgender prisoners. Is this joyful?
Guys.
Well, I guess you're going to have to be the judge. And a Harris administration wouldn't be either, except for the elites like the ones we'll hear from tonight, who from the comfort of their private jets fly over the chaos and suffering their own policies create on their way to their vacation homes surrounded by fences, walls, and private security.
Private security.
Harris had 3.5 years to show America she had some common sense. Instead, she was a bumbling number 2 to a bumbling number 1.
Hey, Sean Hannity here.
Guys,
hey, click here to...
The more and more that stuff comes out, I just still can't believe that so many people are just wanting to vote for the Democratic side. I just don't believe it, guys. It just blows my mind. And I feel like they more or less just hate Trump rather than want to vote for Kamala, just like they did back in 2020. Let me know your thoughts, guys, in the comment section. Also, too, just want to say thank you to everybody that's watching. If you don't mind clicking the thumbs up like button, guys. And if you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. I want to serve you every day with the top news, Monday through Friday, 2 shows a day, and 1 show on the weekends to make sure that you have everything across the board, guys. We report from everybody. We don't care if it's CNN, MSNBC, guys, X, Fox. You deserve to know the truth, and True Life News is going to bring it to you. We love you, we thank you, and we will see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.